Welcome to the High Performance Interviews. Today, I've got somebody really special, and she is coming in from the Smoky Mountains in America, and it's my gorgeous friend, Sue Anderson. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you so much for having me, Lucy. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to find out more about you. It's great to have you here, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day because I know there's a lot going on with you at the moment, which we're going to find out more about in just a second. So, just before I ask the first question, I'd love to introduce you to our audience, Sue. So, Sue is the founder of Triumph Communications and the visionary behind Idyllwild Woods Retreat Center in the Smoky Mountains. After 17 years indoors running a successful copywriting agency, Sue had a wild idea. And what was that wild idea? It was to help entrepreneurs build better businesses and reconnect with the outdoors. And now she helps purpose-driven founders grow their revenue through smart, scalable content systems so they can step away from the screen, back into nature, and she also hosts the Entrepreneurs Gone Wild podcast, where she chats with creatives who do their best thinking under the skies. And so, with that, I would love to ask you, Sue, more about your background and where things started. What did you start to do? What was your dream when you were a youngster?
That's a great question, Lucy, and it's crazy. I don't think you'll get too many that have this answer, but it's exactly what I was doing for a long time is writing. I
Ah,
remember in about fifth grade, so at age 10, having the idea, I want to be a writer. So teachers would say, okay, class, we're going to have creative writing time. And I'd be like, "Ooh." Everybody else was like, oh, but I knew it from then, which is really incredible.
oh, that's fantastic. When you know, because like you say, so many children, young grown-ups have got no idea. And I have to say, just going to throw in, I was exactly the same. What do you want to be when you grow up, Lucy? I want to be a dancer. And I became a dancer.
How
Anyway,
about that? It's so cool.
but back to you. So, okay, so you wanted to be a writer. Is that what you went straight into?
No, I took a long, crazy way to get there. I actually studied psychology and went to grad school for it, did an internship, and I decided, oh no, 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 no. I do not like this. I like academic psychology. I did not like applied. It was terrifying to me.
Mhm.
And then I went back to school and studied accounting of all things. I thought, all
Where did
right.
where did that come from?
Well, I was working as an assistant in an accounting firm, and a friend of mine said, you already have most of the college credits. You could sit for the CPA exam, Certified Public Accountant. And I thought, all right. And so I took a few more classes, and then I had babies, and I thought I really do not want that type of schedule. So I kind of went on this quest, like, what am I going to be when I grow up? I knew I needed to work. At the time I was married to a pastor. We definitely needed more income than what he was able to create. And I hired a coach and basically came going, I'm a blank slate. I could be anything. I have no idea.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we went through this process that was crazy. And as she was reviewing all the results, she's like, well, you should be a writer. And I was like, no, 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 Robin, I actually want to eat. I want to make money because, writers are broke, right? And she's like, this was 2005. She says, Sue, there's this thing called the internet, and all businesses everywhere are going to need to be on there with a website. And every website is going to need words, which means they need writers. And I was like, really?
Isn't that awesome?
It
And
was
you,
crazy.
yeah. That's fantastic. I love the fact that you were in a place where you were really unsure. You knew you need to be earning more money, and yet you went, "What do I need? I need a coach."
Yeah.
Where did that idea come from? Because a lot of times people don't think that way.
No, definitely. And it seemed crazy. So at that point, I had a little nest egg, and I read a book called The Millionaire Maker by a woman named Laurel Langmeyer. And I was like, whoa, what is this? This is crazy. And at the very end, there was a call to action. Hey, you can schedule a free coaching session. And I thought, oh, great. That sounds great. So, of course, now knowing, oh, I was in her funnel, I had a discovery call, I had, all of that. But I was like, this sounds fantastic. And the amount she was charging was exactly what my nest egg was at that point. And I thought, all right, I have never done anything like this before, but I think this is really smart and I'm going to do it. And I was really glad because it launched a whole 20-year career.
I love it. I love that so much. And so you carried on with your coaching with her. Then you
Yeah.
did what she said, there's this internet thing. And so did you start writing on people's websites? Were you creating websites? What happened then? What was the next step?
Yeah. So I mean, this is dating me to like severely, but I went on to a site called guru.com, which is now garbage. Don't go there, guys. But at the time, though, this was one of the first, connecting freelancers to clients type of job board, basically. And I figured out a system. The coach was kind of helpful, but mostly this was mine as far as like how to, bid on projects, how to send work that they would see and go, yes, I want, and just all the processes that needed to happen in order to make this work.
Yeah.
For quite a while, like about 6 months, I was the number one writer on Guru. Like, so that also fed it. Actually, one day I was collecting the mail from the mailbox and I see a postcard and it has my face on it. I'm like, what? And it was from Guru, and they were saying, this could be your new writer. I thought, what? Like, that's the craziest thing. They were just highlighting various of their top performers. And I wish I had saved it. Why would I not save it? It's
Oh,
crazy.
you
But
didn't. Oh,
no, I
no.
just didn't even think to. I didn't realize what an incredible instance this was. But that actually, it helped me to continue building, the agency that I had. I soon realized I was at capacity with just me. I only one of me. So I started realizing I should bring in a team and train them to write the way that I write so that would help make the work go well and definitely serve the clients well.
Gail, yeah.
So I created a course teaching people how to do what I was doing. And when people would finish that course, sometimes if we hit it off and I liked their style, I would say, hey, you want to write on my team? And so I ended up with several writers who were writing with me and for me. And that was just a whole other level because then I was mostly dealing with client interaction and they were handling creating the content that went. So
Yeah.
I had never seen any of that coming, but there it was.
But somehow you drew that to you. You were so open to something happening, something new, weren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
And then
Definitely.
that you grew that business. How far did that business grow
Yeah,
to?
that went to six figures. And then it took some massive hits during COVID. And then with AI and all this, we had a lot of clients. I was mostly serving marketing agencies and their clients. So I personally had about, 5 to 10 clients at any time. But they, in some cases, had 20 or 30 that we were writing for, which is really cool. As their clients suffered during COVID, they fell off bit by bit. And then several of them were like, oh, with this ChatGPT thing, we don't have to pay for a writer ever again. I'm like, oh, so they don't know what they're doing necessarily, but they were not paying for a writer, that's for sure. So we've had a bit of a pivot. And then in the meantime, I had this idea for Idyllwild Woods. So the whole thing is definitely down a twisty path that I did not see coming. Triumph now is really working one-on-one with brands, especially like thought leaders, because I like to do that personal branding type of content where I just like if I see your greatness, I can definitely write about it in a way that shifts beliefs and all this. So doing a lot of that, a lot of lead magnet stuff and email nurturing. That's the one half of what I'm doing. And then the other part is the retreat center. And that was
We're going to come
completely
to that in a
unexpected.
second. We're going to come to that
Yeah.
in a second. So with the copywriting side, is that now back to you doing it by yourself, or do you still have a
Mostly.
team?
Yeah, mostly. I have the writers are still there, but I keep telling them I'm like we're almost to the point where I'll need you again. But for now, it's enough that I can just handle it. And I need to because to fund this place.
Yes, absolutely. So I've seen this place being built through your stories and through the internet. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is happening. This is so exciting. So this is something that if you're listening in and you are a coach, if you are a leader and you're thinking, I'd love to have a retreat somewhere and I want it to be really different and I want it to be really special and I want people to be able to relax, now's your time to listen because Sue is building this amazing center and she's just about to tell you about it. So we'll put the details in the description box below so that you don't miss that. But you might want to get your pen and paper out and take a look before then. So, Sue, this idea, this wild idea that you had for being outside in the Smoky Mountains sounds gorgeous. Tell us more about it.
Yeah. So during that whole 20 years or the first 17 years of the writing business, I didn't go outside much, Lucy. Like I had bought into hustle culture, and all that those guys were ever saying was work, work, work. You can sleep when you're dead. You can treat yourself to some time off after you've made it. And that just never seemed to happen, right? So I didn't go outside. I thought it was going to be buggy, hot, boring, no interest, and frivolous on top of it. So I really didn't go. And then one day I read this book by a guy named Trevor G. Blake. He has an incredible story. After age 50 is when he started as an entrepreneur. He built numerous nine-figure businesses with no employees, and he spent about 4 hours a day working. And of those 4 hours, he said most of that was out walking in the woods. I thought, I don't think so, Mr. Blake. This is fine. I think you're full of it. But I started saying maybe, he wouldn't write a whole book if that was baloney. So I started spending time outdoors every morning, just 5 minutes. That's all I could tolerate. I'm like, this is boring. I hate it. Blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden I didn't hate it. And I started like, ooh, what's that? Getting very curious about what's that plant? What is this? What does it smell like? What can I do with this? Is there anything, how do I take care of it? Next thing, it was kind of being a little kid in school where the teacher lets you go out for recess on the playground. And I'm like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. And I would try to sneak out every time I could. My 5 minutes morning ended up becoming an hour, and I'd have to set an alarm to remind myself to go indoors. And then it took a twist. There's a video on YouTube by Frank Kern doing a thing called the perfect average day exercise. And many people have done this, but this one got assigned by another coach. And I watched it and I was like, all right. And then all of a sudden I was driving one day on a really long car ride from Tennessee to Alabama, 5, 6 hours. And I got this download. And it started with, hey, you should build a retreat center for entrepreneurs. Do it up in the Smokies. Like, okay. And then all the details started filling in. And I'm driving. I've got a long drive. I can't pull over and take all these notes. I'm never going to get home. So I have my notebook and I just like whip it out. I'm writing as I'm driving, not looking at what I'm writing. I'm driving. I'm hoping this is going to be legible. And I got home and said, hey, honey, hear me out. How's this? This sounds crazy, but what if we were to sell everything and go live in Tennessee and build a retreat center for entrepreneurs? And God love him, this wonderful man I'm married to said, that sounds interesting. I think we
Wow,
could do
just
that.
like that. That's amazing.
It was amazing. Now, it took a couple years at that point. We didn't have the property, we didn't have anything. We just had this crazy idea. And I started talking about it. And I attracted a couple of angel investors who helped us start buying the property. Meanwhile, had found this beautiful property. It's 35 acres. There's a creek that runs the whole length of the property, and then there's pasture, and then there's these beautiful hills that are wooded, and oh, it's stunning, and very, very good price. And so we bought it. And then it was still a couple years before we were able to wrap up. We used to have this Volkswagen restoration shop, and that was his baby. And when that came to its finish, then we sold everything else and moved up here almost exactly a year ago
So where were you moving from, Sue?
from Alabama, out by Huntsville, Alabama. So it's about 4 to 5 hours from here. And yeah, big, big move. We
Huge
went from
move.
living in a house to living in a metal barn.
but was there not a property there?
Oh, there was nothing. Yeah, there was nothing. There was a metal barn that we had put in, but we were off grid. It was very, very cold that first month or so. Then it warmed up. Several months in, we got electricity, which is lovely.
Talk about going wild.
Yes,
That's
yes.
that's really going wild.
It really was. It really was, but so exciting to do. So the vision for this place is I want to put 20, hopefully geodesic domes. They kind of look like an igloo, but they've got like this big swath of windows. And you can point them so that they're, the best possible view, very, very private. And they sit on a deck, and then, it's this beautiful, it looks like anything on Instagram. This would be, this is where you can find really beautiful domes to look at. And so that, and then a meeting space and an amphitheater in the hills that are in the property. So an outdoor just seating. Oh, it's going to be great. A yoga deck, just all kinds of off-grid amenities. And the vision is to make this place like luxurious and off-grid. So it's taking some doing. Fortunately, my husband's brain works a lot like MacGyver, who used to be able to make anything out of like a paperclip. He could make a car, right? I'll be like, hey, honey, how do we, I want a whatever, fill in the blank. And he'll think about it. And then he'll come up with a plan. And my son is helping us build. And so he's learned how to do all kinds of crazy building things with like, all right, we've got this and we've got pallets, work with that. We've got scrap wood from a sawmill. And they can build like they built me a whole chicken house like this. I've got an kind of in-ground greenhouse that they've built. They've built a little tree house that's a guest accommodation. It's been just magical to watch their brains get very creative with how are we going to do this.
I bet they're loving it as well. And how old is your son?
He's 28.
Right. Okay. So kind of a good, sensible, still creative, wants to get things happening kind of age.
Yes, yes. And it's been so cool watching this. He has an outstanding background in hospitality and he's really good at managing, but he didn't know how to build anything. I didn't really. So, but he's learned all of that and just watching his brain go, he'll be like, hey, mom, how about if we, he's like taking ownership of it, which is wonderful because someday, this will be his. But he's really taking ownership of the process, which has been just so delightful to watch.
Yeah, as a mum, seeing that development is just, it's like,
Yeah.
and so, okay, so there sounds like there's going to be a lot happening there. I mean, a lot happening, but it's going to develop bit by bit by bit.
Yeah.
When do you envision it actually opening for the first time to house that first retreat for people? Because presumably you need to have places where people can stay as well.
Correct. So at first I thought, well, I got to wait till everything is built and then I can do this because that'll be 20 domes. We could put 2 to 4 people. That's great. That's going to take a while. We're going to need to have investors. So in between now and then, I was like, okay, what are we doing? Then all of a sudden, one day when I was taking a walk, of course, I reached this top of this one hill and I sat down and I was just thinking, and it hit me, we're ready to host. It's just they're going to be glamping style retreats for now. So in a tent, which we can do that. That's easy. I already picked out like 15 spots that are great and flat and beautiful for tents to go. And I'm like, so coaches who want to host a sort of nature retreat that's, a little bit on the rougher side, we can do that for sure. Then that could be absolutely perfect for a lot because there's something about living that connected to nature where there's like transformation that happens that way. So we're actually we're taking reservations for this summer
I was
as
going to
far
say,
as doing,
oh,
yeah,
yes. And
yeah,
this summer, if you're watching this and it's been a while, is 2025.
yeah, yes, yes.
So if you're watching this a lot later, it's probably all happened by now.
Exactly, but we'll still host you if you want to come. And you can
Yes,
still
yes,
probably get to stay in the fancy domes then. And we
yeah.
do have our first dome is here. We've been assembling it, which is kind of a crazy project. I'm not entirely sure that they sent the right parts, but that's okay. We're about 2/3 done on the installation. And the third one, we're going, how know what? It will make it work.
Yeah, yes, yes. I'm imagining those kits that you get from the big stores that when you get it back home, do you have 20 screws and this size and that? This is that. It's like, no, I'm missing that last piece. I
Right,
can't, it's just going to
exactly.
collapse.
Exactly. So we're working with the manufacturer to make sure that we actually get what we need, which is wonderful, but it's been a big project.
It's a huge project. But the great thing is that when you have that vision and you can see it and it starts to build and it starts to build and it starts to build. And I know, like you say, when you go on that walk and you're out in nature and you're surrounded by that all the time, you're allowing those things to come to you. You're allowing the space. I was talking about this on something yesterday. It's just allowing. Sometimes you just need, especially as a peak performer, you need to allow yourself the space to just think, because
Yes,
that's when you get those most creative ideas and the business ideas, and you just go, oh, right, I need to remember that. That's amazing. Some people
yes.
get them in the shower. I never get them in the shower. It's always out
Yeah.
walking.
Oh yeah. No, it's such a great thing. And what's so weird, Lucy, is that I know for my brain and a lot of people, I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs over the past bunch of years. There's this sense of if you're not actively working, it's something that you could point at and I did that, then it feels frivolous and it's very hard to justify it. It's like, no, this is such golden work that you can do. This is where the real magic of creation happens, is if you're out, not on your screen, not with things in your ears, and you're just walking and breathing and leaving space. You can't even force it to happen. You just kind of let it happen.
Yeah, and that's a thing as well. People will say, oh yeah, I go out in nature and I listen to podcasts. I'm like, no, leave those things behind. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to take a device because you want to take some lovely photos, fine, but it's turn the notifications off.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You'll miss the whole thing. Otherwise, it's just like you're in your office, but a better view. I mean,
Yeah.
but having that all off, and I bring it with me because sometimes, like you said, I've got photos to take or videos to take, or I'll get an idea and I'll just voice record it to myself, but I'm not looking at it. I'm
Mm-mm.
just being present there and resting and walking and looking at things. And every time there's this beautiful old elm tree. It's so big, Lucy. I can't even put my arms around it, not even half. It's
Wow.
gigantic. I have no idea how old, but I like to start there. It's right at the entrance to the section that I like in the woods. And I'll put my hand on it and I'll go, okay, I want to see what I need to see, and I'll walk from there. And almost always I'll have some like great insight, something I can write for a client, something I can do to promote here, something we could build, all this. And it's just being very purposeful of I'm not straining, trying to, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? It's just I want to see what I need to see.
Yeah.
And it always works.
Yeah. And you're just allowing that download to come again, aren't you? Just allowing it in. It's just like, this is what I need. Just putting it out there, bring
Yeah.
it on. I think when you allow that space, it's that contemplation time. And you were talking about if I'm not in front of my screen, or if I'm not writing something, or if I'm not calculating something, then I'm not working. But part of being a peak performer is that rest is part of the work.
Yeah.
And when you allow that rest time, gosh, I've had struggles with people about this, right? It's like, oh no, I can't, I've got so much to do and I can't take time away. It's like, you have to. It's
Yeah.
part of your work is to take the time away, have a walk, go for some active recovery, go for a bike ride, go for a swim, whatever, gets you going and you love and you enjoy. Go and do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Google, I think, is it Google? And they allow the people that work for them to go off and go, uh, surfing or wherever they happen to be working and take that time because that's when they know they're going to get their best ideas. Pretty sure it's
Yes.
Google. And so,
I think so.
yeah. And so it's not frivolous. It
Right.
is part of the work. And that's where the magic does happen. It's so, so
It is.
true.
It is. One of my
Very-
mentors is like, he has said that the highest work that we do, the highest value we do as entrepreneurs is to create. and to be creative, to have that time, you know. And I thought, well, I was looking for justification for it because I knew, like, for self-care, it's like, well, I'm tough. I can go without self-care for a while. Yeah, right. But even beyond self-care, like, this is so powerful because it does take care of us, but at the same time, it does helps us to create, which is our highest form of service that we can do, is to create something for somebody. And so I'm like, oh, all right, there we go. Two great reasons to spend that time outside.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're listening and you're thinking, no, I haven't got time to do that stuff, Sue. Yes, you have. Most definitely. We're both saying it's a really, really great idea. We both do it. Take time out in nature. Just stop, breathe. Even just going for a cuppa outside. If you're not used to it, start like Sue. Just go outside for 5 minutes a day with your cup of tea or your glass of water or whatever, and just sit and be. No devices, nothing stuck in your ears, and stare at the clouds. And if you haven't got clouds, we often have clouds here in the UK. If you haven't got clouds, just stare at the beautiful blue sky.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. And so, with what you're doing, Sue, how does that make you feel? Where do you see that's going to take you now on your journey?
How do I feel? Sometimes I feel terrified, Lucy. This is crazy. I'm 57 years old. Like, we're doing this, we're living in a barn. This is not normal. But I feel so driven by this, like the passion that I have gotten, the my dream of serving these entrepreneurs. Like, I can see this ripple effect that this place could have. So what I love about entrepreneurs is they take ownership of a problem they didn't cause, and then they devote themselves to finding a solution that serves people. So I'm like, wait, this place can play a huge role in making that happen. And so that gets very exciting for me because I can envision entrepreneurs coming here, they get their new product idea, or they get their new, hey, I'm going to do it, like, they like all the different ideas that they might create while they're here. That could play out. And then those people that they're able to serve, wow, they will never know necessarily about Idlewild Woods, but that's where the thing that helped them was born,
Yeah.
and or the relationships that they'll build. Because that's the other part of it, is we tend to be so isolated entrepreneurs. We see people on Zoom, which is wonderful. Thank God for Zoom.
Yes, agreed.
But we need unscheduled, unhurried face-to-face time. I think it just ramps up the power of that. And being able to sit around a campfire or put our feet in the creek and just chat, like, that is, so I feel like that is going to really add value, add blessing to people's life. And so when I think about these things, I'm like, okay, yes, I'm scared. Yes, it could all, you know, but these are my people and I'm here to serve them. And this is the order I have been given, and I am doing it until I'm told otherwise. So it's really exciting. And I've found, how, like, they always say, oh, it's your why, like, find your why. For me, I think it's been even more powerful to find my who, because it's like, I love entrepreneurs. And it's so much that I'm like, I wouldn't dare quit because I want to serve them. And so it's like that just fuels me every day. When we're living here through the winter and it was really cold, or, we're looking at, we have $1 million project and we don't have $1 million, like, all the things that could come. And I look at this and I go, my people are waiting for this. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to be able to create it for them.
Yes, and they truly are waiting, because I know you've found a lot of your people around, and you have a lot of your people around you, and they are cheering you on, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
discovering more and more how it's going to look and how it's going to be, and seeing your vision come true. And that's exciting, to be just to be part of the process that you're going through, even just looking from the other side of the ocean.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still a part of it, which
You are. Yes.
it seems really silly, but I know that this is your dream and I can see it coming true, you
Yeah.
know, and you're so passionate about it and you're so lit up by it.
Yeah.
It's magic. It's just dreams coming true and helping other people's dreams come true with what you're doing without, yes, you get those days where you're thinking, oh my goodness, am I really doing this? We haven't got the money. but you're trusting. You are trusting that it's all going to be fine and the right people and the who are going to show up, right? Whether
Yeah.
that is investors or whether it's entrepreneurs and whether it's somebody giving you work and you on the other side with your copywriting, it's all going to
Hmm.
show up because you're trusting it, which is,
Yes,
again, in itself, absolutely huge.
it is.
So, Sue, is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with before we head out?
Yes. Take that time and go outside. It's, if not for yourself, and it will do wonderful things for you, think about the people you're serving and the amazing things that you'll be able to create just by having that time to give yourself inspired ideas that you can run with once you get back indoors. Don't skip that time. It's really important.
Ditto. So do it. So do it. And if you're wanting to find out more and you want to connect with Sue, whether it's for copywriting, whether it's just to have a chat, we'll put all of the details in the description box below and how to find out more about Idyllwild Woods Center and how you can book it and perhaps even be one of the very first to do so. So thank you again, Sue, for taking the time. It's been an absolutely awesome time spent with you. So
Thank you so much, Lucy. I've really enjoyed this. It's been really fun.
it really has. It really has. So bye-bye, everyone. Have the most awesome day. There'll be another video coming up on screen. So I'm going to see you over there. And remember, take that time out in nature for yourself. Bye for now.